Greetings, everyone. Glenn Kellaway from the basement. Hope everyone's having a great day. It's Hump Day today, Wednesday. Tomorrow night, I'm going to see Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello. So I'll be back with some kind of a concert review at some point. Probably do that on Friday or Saturday. Today, I want to talk about collaborations. I'm not talking about like Simon and Garfunkel and people that were synonymous with each other. Talking about people who got together for a one-off or maybe two at the most. Like, great example, Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. I don't have either of those albums anymore. I don't know what the hell happened. Anyway, but great example of what I'm trying to get at here. So let's start. I pulled a few CDs and I pulled a few pieces of vinyl. So I'm just going to go through the CDs first. I didn't rank any of these. I'm just going to show them. Let's start with this. Now, this kind of just turned into a one-off. I don't know if it was meant to be a one-off or they had future plans. I don't know. But Blind Faith, it just turned into one album for great musicians getting together and coming out with this legendary record. Stevie Winwood and Eric Clapton did get together later and did a tour. There is an album out called Live from Madison Square Gardens, which is actually really good. So Eric Clapton and Stevie Winwood are two. Next, how about the great Elvin Lee? I love Elvin Lee. 10 years after, amazing. He put out a solo album with a gentleman by the name of Mylon LaFave. I don't know who Mylon LaFave was. I don't have any background on this gentleman, but this is a pretty good record. And they do a George Harrison song on here, I think. Or not. Maybe not. What am I thinking about? Anyway, if you've never heard this album, I thought there was a Harrison track on here, Far East Man or something, but that's probably a Ron Wood album. Anyway, it's an excellent album. Not like real bluesy like you think of Elvin Lee, the blues rock 10 years after stuff. A little different than that, but really a good listen. Next, how about Lucinda Williams? I love Lucinda Williams, one of my favorite singer-songwriters. She took her songs and did them in a kind of a jazzy style and got together with Charles Lloyd, great jazz guy. Charles Lloyd and the Marvels. It's a really interesting album. They do Dust on here, Ventura. They do Angel on here, the Hendrix tune. But it's pretty interesting listen. And a bit different, that's for sure. This is one that kind of turned into one. I don't know what their plans were for this, but maybe you got to think the Traveling Wilburys. I don't know. They did this one album, and then unfortunately Roy Orbison passed away. And they did have a volume 2, but they're volume 3. I apologize. I'm still looking for volume 2. But this is nowhere near this in terms of quality of music, but really just a one-off as far as I'm concerned. I never play this. So Traveling Wilburys might count. The rest are more just one-on-one collaborations or collaboration. Here's another one of my favorite singer-songwriters, John Hayatt, teamed up with one of my favorite bluegrass guys, Jerry Douglas, a great dobro player. John Hayatt and the Jerry Douglas Band. Leftover Feelings, really good album, really strong. John wrote some great songs, and to be backed by that band, just incredible. Great album. John Hayatt and Jerry Douglas. How about we go a bit jazzy and rock at the same time? How about Carlos Santana and the great Alice Coltrane, Illuminations? What a fantastic record this is. Bit of Santana's sound with Alice's weird jazz stuff. It's just really works. It's a great record. I love it and love the cover. Illuminations, Carlos Santana and Alice Coltrane. This might work. Mike Bloomfield teaming up with Al Cooper, actually teaming up with Mike Bloomfield to make an album. Stephen Stills is in there too. If you don't know the story, The plan was for Mike Bloomfield and Al Cooper to make an album together, and Mike Bloomfield, in his own Mike Bloomfield way, gets bored and just walks away. That's what he did. He just didn't show up one morning for the sessions. He was gone. And they brought Stephen Stills in. So one side's Stephen Stills and one side's Mike Bloomfield. One of the great albums from the 60s, Super Session. If you've not heard this album, do yourself a favor. Another collaboration. You guys know I'm heavy into this British folk scene. I mean, I was listening to Pentangle this morning. What a band. Unbelievable. I'm going to do a video on these guys. I don't care if anybody watches it. I'm just so passionate. But two guys from Pentangle, great guitar players, John Renbourn and Bert Jansch. What a fantastic record this is. Unbelievable. So this record probably sells for like $40. And it's a double album. And I was in Zap Records, and one of the sides is kind of screwed. It's got a big scratch on it. So he sold it to me for $10. So I got 3 sides of the album to play. Excuse me. Of course, I have to sneeze. You're so good looking. Next, one of my all-time favorite artists, Bela Fleck. Just love the man. Chick Corea, one of the great jazz artists of all time. Bela and Chick became great friends and toured together and put out some music together. And this just came out this year. It's called Remembrance, and it's Bela put out all the stuff that he'd done with Chick that they hadn't released yet. It's absolutely brilliant. It just is. How can you get 2 master musicians? You can't. How can it be bad? How can it? It's impossible. Oh, how about Steve Earle and the Del McCoury Band? Steve Earle, great singer-songwriter again, teams up with a legendary bluegrass artist, Del McCoury, and they come up with this album called The Mountain, which is absolutely spectacular. I love this album. Very hard to find on vinyl. Well, you can find it, but you got to pay for it. But wow, what an album. Del McCoury and Steve Earle. How about Frank Zappa and Beefheart? I mean, these guys were teenage friends. Beefheart guested on Hot Rats album, but this album, Bongo Fury, is a collaboration between Captain Beefheart and Frank Zappa, and one of my favorite Zappa albums in the Zappa catalog. Bongo Fury. 2 more to go. Taj Mahal and Ry Cooder. Now, both roots artists, played together in a band in the 60s called the Rising Suns that really never went anywhere. That album has been reissued. It's actually kind of cool to listen to, from about 68, I'm going to say. They went their separate ways, but, kind of both rootsy acoustic blues and roots music and stuff. And both had just phenomenal careers, incredible artists. They got together a couple of years ago and put this album out called Get On Board. Fantastic, with Ry's son, Joaquin Cooder, producing and playing any percussion on it and everything. But this is a phenomenal record. Great record. Last but not least, what do I have here? Oh, how about Jack Bruce and Robin Trower? I didn't even know these guys got together. I mean, Robin Trower from Procol Harum, and just a great guitar player. A lot of great solo albums that he put out. I mean, he kind of had developed a sound that was very close to Hendrix, I would say. It's very heavy blues, rock. And Jack Bruce, legendary from Cream, and just a great bass player, great singer, great songwriter. BLT. Robin Trower, Jack Bruce, and Bill Lorden, whoever the hell Bill Lorden is. Anyway, pretty good album. Chrysalis Records. That's the ones I picked out. I'm sure there are a million more, but let me know if you can think of any good ones. Remember, it's kind of a one-off thing and a collaboration that you don't really see the artists. Well, I guess you see some of them together, but you know what I mean. Okay. Don't bug me. Okay, all right. Thumbs up. Thanks. Take care.